Welcome to another episode of Business Builders Corner. I'm Mary Engelman, Executive Director of the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm sitting here with my first guest, Benny Edwards Music. Welcome, Benny.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited that you're here because it's not often that, I'm interviewing someone of your caliber, and that means a musician. And that is not typical of what you see in a lot of chambers, so I'm pretty excited to sit down with you and kind of ask some questions about your music and go on. So tell me a little bit about, I just said you're a musician, but tell me a little bit about what you do. What is Benny Edwards Music?
I'm a singer, songwriter, and professional musician. So I play locally as well as outside of the state of Michigan. I teach guitar lessons, I teach voice lessons.
Wow.
I help market and promote other musicians, and then I spend time educating other younger musicians on how to approach the business more like business owners instead of just strictly artists.
Wonderful. So how long have you been in the Farmington Hills area?
About 3 years.
Oh, that's great. Why did you choose our community here?
I love it. It's a great community. Both the business owners and residents are very supportive. They give a lot back to the community, so it's.
Sure. Now we have some musicians, and obviously, we do things like Founders Festival, and there's, things that happen in downtown Farmington and even in Farmington Hills, concerts and parks and all that stuff. What makes you different from, any other musician here?
I think mostly just time in the business, my experience. I've started doing this when I was about 16 years old, so I've been doing it about 18 years. Never was signed as a record. A record label never signed me, and so with that I had to learn everything myself, kind of a grassroots style. So I had to teach myself how to market myself, how to promote myself, how to budget for a tour, how to engineer and produce my own CD, put it on iTunes. So it's a great experience. It makes me very well versed, but yeah.
What an entrepreneur. I mean, that's basically what you do, creating that from scratch. You joined a chamber. How has it helped your business, and why join a chamber?
I wanted to be a part of the community, and I think that's where the chambers really helped me the most, is just help me get involved with community events and things like that.
Right. So what types of opportunities have been the most beneficial to your business?
I would say the most rewarding was being a third-party sponsor for the Botsford Cancer Center through the Flamingo Incident, which is the nonprofit group of musicians that raises money for cancer awareness and screening and things like that. It was a really neat opportunity to be a part of Botsford, which is a huge organization here in the Farmington area.
And now you've been doing that for how many years now?
Actually, last year was my first year doing it.
Oh, okay.
But Botsford was very open. They really embraced the Flamingo Incident and me, so it's been nice.
That's wonderful. So how will these new relationships help your business? I mean, you obviously have heart and compassion for the nonprofits and helping people, and you do that through your music. But, have you found that to be beneficial in just kind of doing those types of things in a community?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think at the very least, I have new fans, right? Who will potentially come to a gig.
I have to tell you, my husband has listened to your CD.
Oh, thank you. So he's the one and only. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he'll probably send me back to have you sign it. So don't be surprised if I do that.
But yeah, it's helped me acquire new fans, but some private events that I've been able to do, acquire one or two students, whether vocally or guitar.
That's wonderful. You have described your music as an American. What does that mean?
Oh, Americana. Yeah.
Oh, it's Americana.
Yeah, Americana is. It's not a very well-known label yet, but
that's I messed it up.
it's a genre that really encapsulates all of the traditional roots of American music. So your blues, your bluegrass, folk, rock, country, R&B. They all have their unique instruments that make them that genre. So your Bob Segers, your Tom Petty's, John Fogerty's, those are musicians that are classified as Americana because they use acoustic instruments, but that you might see them throw in a banjo or a ukulele or a harmonica, which are all, American root music. So
that's really, I never knew that. It's crazy how much you don't know. You're involved with many areas of the music industry. Which is your favorite? I mean, you do the finance, you do the songwriting, you do all that, you do the promoting, the marketing. What's your favorite?
I love it all. I really do. My passion is very deep when it comes to music. I would say the most challenging is definitely the marketing, promoting, because you basically have to go out there and tell people that you're valuable, that you're worth something.
Right.
So that's probably the most challenging, but also can be the most rewarding too.
Okay. And what can Farmington Hills expect from Benny Edwards going forward?
In the next year, a couple things. I actually have started a new band, myself and a friend of mine, Chris Freeman, who's also a part of the Flamingo incident. It's called Twisted Root Revival. We're just in the beginning phases of it. We've got a couple other band members we got our eyes on, but yeah, we've been playing together for a little over a year now, and we've really connected. So be looking for Twisted Root Revival with me and Chris Freeman, and then the Flamingo Incident's going to have another cancer benefit concert in October.
So here's I see guitar, and so I'm excited for you to play something, and hopefully you're going to play one of your originals.
I will.
But now the Benny Edwards comes with a hat. Does that impact your playing ability? I was just curious. Like if I snatch it off, would that really impact?
I don't know if it would or not. It's a way for me to differentiate myself.
I think it's wonderful. I'm totally teasing you. But, well, let's see what you can do here.
Okay.
And please don't make me cry because you do beautiful music.
I'll try not to. This is a song actually called "Traveling Salesman." My day starts at dawn. You've seen me before. I am the one going door to door. The photographs of faces, the catalog of names have broadened these some shoulders, my leather skin's untamed. I'm not looking for fortune or fame. I'm a traveling salesman all the same. Every voice appears unique. My ears will hear every word you speak. I try to make connections, relate your storyline to a time and place familiar to a memory of mine. I only need a moment of your time. I'm a traveling salesman in my mind. Every day I walk on these soles, they suit me well, though my tie grows old. Suspenders keep my legs up against the corporate clowns. I want to be remembered as the go-to guy in town. Ain't no one better, I've looked all around. I'm a traveling salesman, so I found. I'm a traveling salesman, so I found. No more to say or me to believe. At the end of the day, you're buying me. You're buying me. You're buying me.
Wow, that's great.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh, that's beautiful. I did
Appreciate
tear up a little bit because it's so sweet.
Thank you.
Well, so we're just about ready to wrap up, but it's a smaller guitar.
Yes.
Is
That's
that-
a 3/4 body. That's actually a unique instrument. It's a Liberty Tree guitar.
Okay.
Bob Taylor of Taylor Guitars made a series of 3/4 body and then full body after the last Liberty Tree was uprooted by Hurricane Floyd back in the beginning of the millennium. So it's pretty neat.
Everything about you, Benny, is there's a story, and it's really neat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And what would you like to leave the audience of Farmington and Farmington Hills?
Keep up the support.
Yeah.
It's the reason why I'm drawn to this community, and I think it's a reason why more people will come to this community. As long as we keep supporting each other, I think that's really the name of the game.
I agree with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with our next guest.
This place is so neat. I love this place. And you know, you drive along expressways and you see the billboards and the lit signs, and you would never wonder, where do those things come from? They come from here. You've been in our community a long time. I know this was the new building that you were purchasing at the time. I'm glad you were able to expand in our town. And I'm not going to welcome you. You're here. I'm just glad you're staying.
Welcome back. I'm Mary Engelman, Executive Director of the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm sitting here with my next guest, who is Dorian Gray. Aren't you the manager of the Phantom Fireworks in Farmington Hills?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I am.
Oh my gosh. So thank you for being here. I mean, I think this is our only fireworks store, official fireworks store in our community.
No, thank you for having me today.
Yes.
And I do believe so. And we're very excited to be that.
So obviously you sell fireworks, you sell retail,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's something kind of new in Michigan where we can actually go in and buy certain things there. So I don't want to steal your thunder, but I have to tell you, I love the story. I remember you calling me and saying, we're going to be building in Farmington Hills. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
And I drove out to, I won't even tell you, but it was like almost an hour drive. Took you out to lunch.
I
and we
really
talked.
appreciate that.
No, so that's great. Well, so tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, Phantom Fireworks of Farmington Hills is a family-owned business, Phantom Fireworks. We're based out of Youngstown, Ohio.
All right.
We actually did have a temporary showroom not far from Farmington Hills over in West Bloomfield.
Oh.
And that's kind of how we found out about the demand in the area. People really do love fireworks around here, so that's why we're here.
Yes, we do.
That is why we're here.
Oh, that's great. So, you know, you've been around for a long time. You know, what made your company choose Farmington Hills as opposed to, you know, I mean, you know, you could have been anywhere. You could have been in West Bloomfield, you could have been in Southfield, Livonia.
Well, on top of the fact that it's just a beautiful area,
coming.
no, seriously,
No, it is
I'm new to the
gorgeous.
area. I'm new to the area, and everything's so beautiful. So, on top of that, it's like I just said, the demand for fireworks here is very large, and on top of that, just how welcoming everybody's
Right.
been. I mean, you come into some communities and you speak with the officials about renting out a building or leasing a building, and some people really are not into fireworks, but
Right.
everybody's welcomed us with open arms.
That's
so.
great. So tell me a little bit about, you know, obviously you sell fireworks. What makes that unique in a community? Because, you know, you can go to one of the big box stores and buy stuff, right? What's the difference?
Well, at our showrooms, our number one priority of Phantom Fireworks is fireworks safety.
Oh, wow.
So the real difference of our showroom from another fireworks company or one of our competitors is for one, we focus on customer service, but I mean, we like to educate every single customer on fireworks safety and on a careful manner to shoot off fireworks.
Wow.
I mean, on our website, we have, well, one thing that definitely makes us stand out from our competitors is our website is fireworks.com. You go to that website and we have a fireworks university where we actually educate each customer on how to carefully shoot off fireworks, on what each firework does and what each product does. So, I mean, we really try to help our customers have a safe, fun experience with their fireworks.
That's interesting because, I mean, anyone that knows me knows that I'm not the most elegant person, you know, and I have a little bit of a clumsiness about me. So there have been many times that I've walked away from, you know, the 4th of July and my fingers aren't feeling so a little numb and a little bit cinched. So that's really good. So I'm excited to go in and learn all about what you offer. You know, why join the chamber? How has that benefited your business?
Well, like you said, you reached out to me. You drove all the way, I believe it was Sterling Heights, actually, and you took me, my assistant manager and I out to lunch, and we got some sushi. You got us outside of our box a little bit.
Absolutely.
But I mean, like I said, you guys have just welcomed us with open arms, and I couldn't have asked for more when it came to the chamber. You guys have introduced us to multiple events that I knew nothing about, being new to the community. You got us involved with Founders Festival, which I'm very excited about.
And we're excited that you're sponsoring it. I mean, you're going to be doing fireworks on the Friday and a Saturday of Founders Festival. I think that is just a wonderful partnership, and I hope that happens for many years, and that's your signature, you know, contribution. So it's great. We're happy about that.
I'm excited.
So tell me, you know, what makes Phantom Fireworks stand out amongst the competition in the fireworks industry? I mean, I know you guys do education and you do some of those things, but are you gonna, you know, if I go to a big box, will I get the same exact fireworks, or are there just a variety of things that you guys offer that other places don't?
Well, I honestly think that we are a big box company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Phantom Fireworks, we do some things that other companies really do not offer. We're the only national chain that offers Nook video players, which are video players that actually give you individual demos. Each customer, when they come in, we have salespeople that hold these Nook video players. So, I mean, you're not just walking through a fireworks store anymore and saying, wow, that package looks nice, I want that one. You actually get a chance to ask a professional on the topic, and they will actually bring you a video so you can watch it before you walk out of the door.
Well, see, what I was thinking is, like, typically when we buy fireworks, it's going to be either the big box, like where it's a store that sells food, and then you can buy fireworks on an aisle, or if it's like, you know, one of those tents, those temporary tents that set up. That's what I mean by, like, kind of, see, you're giving me the look. I got to be careful, right? Those aren't always the best places to go.
No.
How many years has Phantom Fireworks been in business?
We actually were founded over 30 years ago.
Wow. So you've been around.
Yes, Bruce Zolden founded it over 30 years ago. Our headquarters is in Youngstown, Ohio. So, I mean,
that's great.
We've been around for a while.
What days are legal for Michigan residents to shoot fireworks? I think that's kind of a big thing.
Yeah, it's
Keeps
definitely
the police away, right?
Yeah, yes.
You know those things.
To not get in trouble, you're going to want to shoot off fireworks on all the 10 legal holidays. That's what you're allowed to shoot off as a Michigan resident now. Yes, a lot of people don't know that because a lot of the laws are really recent and are just now changing. But all 10 legal holidays, you can shoot them off the day of, the day before, and the day after, actually.
I don't know if our city council wants everybody to know that, but
It's
I
true.
love it. So every holiday you can. I did not realize. I thought, you know, I mean, I think people traditionally just wait until the 4th. And if we don't use them
Things
all,
are changing.
we usually wait and just keep them in our garage until next year. But now I know.
Now
Next
you know.
holiday.
Yeah.
Is my birthday considered a holiday or no? That's probably not.
We're going to have to work on that one.
So my other question is, what type of social media does your company make available? I mean, obviously we know that social media is a very big part of my kids' worlds. I think that they're going to probably have arthritis in their thumbs, and they're very muscular thumbs. So, you know, obviously that's big within society. What do you guys do to kind of promote that and really embrace social media?
Well, we're actually big on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Pinterest, and Instagram. So, I mean, we're on almost every single social networking site that you can get on. And on top of that, we even have a mobile app available. So you can even after you leave a showroom, you can check out some of our videos from our mobile app.
So there's an opportunity to become obsessive with
Yes.
fireworks. You made it
Yes.
easy. No, that's great. What are
Yes.
the items that every person who lights fireworks should have on hand?
Well, you did mention something about burning your fingertips.
Yes.
If you would have came to Phantom, we would have let you know you should use a long neck lighter, which is like what you light your grill with. So then you won't have to burn your fingers anymore because
Unless
it's a
you
little
have a gas
longer.
grill. But
Yeah,
but I know
that's
what you
true.
mean.
That's true. Yeah.
Candles, like
Yes.
aroma candles.
Yes,
is
a
what
very
you use.
long neck lighter.
Okay.
So that would actually help out. A bucket of water to
Really?
throw on your fireworks. We like you to have that near
Wow.
if you want to do it in a safe manner. Bricks to hold your fireworks down. Safety goggles always help. And a container for any fireworks that are not being lit at the moment so they don't catch on fire.
Basically, the only thing that I guess there's nothing that I ever do that's safe because everything you've named, I've never done.
No,
And
that's
I'm
why we're
old,
educating
so
the community.
That's amazing. So we're kind of at the end here. Is there anything you'd like the residents of Farmington and Farmington Hills to know about Phantom Fireworks?
We would like everybody and all of our customers to know that when you come into a Phantom Fireworks store, we're a family-owned business, but we like to treat our customers like family as well. Each customer that comes in the door, we're going to greet you, ask you how your day was. We're gonna be able to personally lead you to whatever item that you would like to find, and we'll even help you put it in your car at the end of the day.
That's
So
neat. What are your hours of operation?
we're open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. usually throughout the year when we're open year-round, but 4th of July we'll be open all the way to 1
Are
in the
you
morning.
serious?
Yes, we will.
So I was wondering about that if, because we are always a last minute family too that burns their fingers and doesn't follow any of the safety rules that you're recommending.
It's okay.
So, I'm kind of disappointed, and I guess this isn't a place, but it would have been neat to kind of shoot off fireworks here in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, the
Probably not.
roof's not quite high enough,
There you
and
go.
there is a ceiling, so we're not allowed to do that. But if I could, I definitely would
There you
shoot off
go.
some fireworks for you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and
No, thank you for
I
having me.
feel so much more educated on fireworks, and it's something that I've taken for granted, and so I can't wait to visit your showroom and learn all the proper ways to manage them and purchase them. So we'll be back with our next guest. So we are so excited to celebrate another ribbon cutting in Farmington Hills. We need someone that does what you guys do. You are a match made in heaven where we have a psychiatrist, a doctor who really takes care of adults and also children. We're pleased that you picked Farmington Hills. This is a way to grow your business and to really be a service to our community.
I chose Farmington Hills so that I could help children and their families in the Oakland County and branch out. My mother founded ACS Assessment and Treatment Center to help children and families through distressing circumstances and using short-term evidence-based practice.
Welcome back. I'm Mary Engelman, Executive Director of the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce, and I am excited to sit with my last guest, who is Dr. Beth Rutkowski. Welcome.
Thank you for having me today.
No, I'm so excited to have you. We just celebrated your ribbon cutting, and it's nice to sit down with you and really get to know who you are and what your business is and how you're just a great asset to our community. Dr. Beth, there's a lot of doctors out there. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I specifically am a clinical psychologist.
Okay.
So this means that I'm trained to administer and interpret psychological assessments as well as complete therapy. So I work with other mental health professionals, including my office mate, who is a social worker, Jessica Kushler,
Yes.
and
Lovely person.
with psychiatrists throughout the area that will help with the prescribing of medication if that's necessary.
So I'm curious because I did say we just had a ribbon cutting not so long ago. What made you choose Farmington Hills as your home base?
Well, actually, I went to high school just down the road at Mercy High School.
Oh,
so
awesome.
I spent quite a bit of time here as I was growing up.
Okay.
I remember sledding down the big hill outside of Our Lady of Sorrows. I remember
Oh my
I
gosh.
learned to play doubles tennis at the OCC
Oh my
tennis courts.
gosh.
So many positive memories here. It was just good to come back to a city that I knew to be friendly
Wonderful.
and supportive.
So, and that's pretty much why you did pick the hills?
Definitely,
Oh
yes.
my gosh, I love it. Well, so tell me, what makes your business unique in the community?
Well, there are mental health professionals
Right.
all across the board who have a wonderful amount of skill sets. I particularly, because I'm a fully licensed psychologist, I have the ability to interpret psychological assessments. So these would come into play when a child is having difficulty at school. If a parent is wondering, is it ADHD? Is it a learning disability? Or even is their child gifted? I'm able to do those kind of assessments and give those results back to parents, as well as court-ordered assessments. I am something that's called a substance abuse professional, which means that I can interpret tests for the Department of Transportation if someone's violated alcohol and drug regulations for that department.
That's amazing. I didn't even realize that, you can get an assessment for something like that.
Yes, exactly. Basically, assessments are just designed to help you get a better idea of what's going on with your behavior, with your emotion, just with circumstances in your life.
Okay.
So that's something that I specialize in. I truly enjoy working with court systems.
Right.
I did an internship at one point that involved testifying as an expert witness and working with family courts, working with civil courts, working with all those different agencies
That's really neat.
to help figure out what's the best outcome for parents and children and people who've had issues with the law, or people who are just going through divorces and difficult times.
So you just answered my question, because you were focusing a little bit on, there's a lot you do for the children component of your practice, but you really can see anybody.
Yes, actually, at our specific location, when it comes to psychological assessments, I do children and I do adults.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to working in a therapy setting, I work primarily with adults. My colleague Jess works primarily with children and adolescents.
Okay.
I specialize in a type of therapy called dialectical behavior therapy, which is one of the most well-supported therapies, if not the most well-supported therapy for things ranging from stress management and anger difficulties to coping with suicidal ideation and a trauma history.
Goodness.
So this specific type of therapy is what I focus on when it's appropriate for my clients.
Right.
And that works best with adults, with older adolescents that are at that ability to kind of think back on their own actions.
That's amazing. I mean, you really, you don't realize it, but I would argue that most of us need some form of therapy. We just don't recognize it, and we just kind of work our way through it the best we know how. I mean, really.
Exactly, and that's one of the
crazy.
things when it comes to therapy that I like for people to try to understand. It's not about having some kind of diagnosis or disorder.
Right.
It's about encountering situations in your life. Everybody encounters situations in their life where they just simply don't have the tools to deal with it. They've never encountered it before.
Right.
It can be extremely difficult to just go through the typical life changes.
Wow.
And that's when therapy can be really, really helpful.
Typical life changes, like when you get old.
But that is actually,
I mean, it's true. I mean,
you're coping with
happens.
loss, and you're just coping
Right.
with the need to adjust to different circumstances.
Right.
And talking with a professional, talking with someone who, DBT is wonderful about having different skill sets that it helps people cope with. It teaches them interpersonal skills to help them deal with just being better at saying no in certain situations, being better at understanding what it is that's important to them and how to accomplish that without destroying relationships or their own self-esteem.
That's amazing.
And it's the type of things that anyone can use.
So really, people, when you talk about seeing a psychologist, you don't necessarily need to go for years and years. You can actually kind of target just an issue you just can't seem to work through.
Exactly.
I think that's wonderful. So one of the first things you did, and actually even before we met, you were probably one of the easiest memberships I've ever received. You signed up with the chamber before I even met you. So what made you decide to do that? I mean,
again, it goes back to just how friendly this community is. As soon as I started hearing about different chamber events and met certain individuals that were involved with the chamber, everyone just seemed so willing to help.
all right.
Starting a private practice is a pretty intimidating process, and having the chamber there has been refreshing with how many people are just willing to lend a hand.
Absolutely. I mean, we want you to be successful because you enhance our community, and I think that's wonderful. So it's great. One of the things, I mean, we've talked about a little bit about DBT, and we've talked about now I'm going to say this, dialectical behavior therapy. Do you
Yes.
want to expound on any of those two items before we move on?
Sure. Well, dialectical behavior therapy is DBT.
Oh,
So
hello, Mary. Pay attention.
So basically, the premise behind dialectical behavior therapy is pretty simple. Dialectical means that you can have two things that seem contradictory but can coexist. For DBT, that's acceptance and change. One of the things we say about people who are entering DBT is that it's okay with how you've been. We understand that you're doing the best you can do with the resources you have.
Right.
So accepting who you are, accepting the choices you've made. But at the same time realizing that the life you're living right now isn't the best that you can do.
Right.
So it's trying to make that change as well as accepting who you've already been.
And helping you through. That's great. How do you know when a behavior has become dangerous or troublesome? I mean, and I don't want to go into it, but there's this, in the last few years, you've seen a lot of tragedies happening in all different areas. And, you're almost afraid to send your kids to school anymore. So how do you recognize that?
And that's something that psychological assessments can definitely help with. If you're starting to notice that people are changing their way of behaving in a social situation, the thing is, the baseline for most people in your life, including yourself.
Right.
Another thing that I haven't talked too much about is the fact that I'm a certified alcohol and drug counselor.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that they teach us right away is how people can recognize when, say, their alcohol use is becoming dangerous as opposed to just being, social drinking, which is extremely common in our society.
Right.
And it's really about noticing those changes in your life, noticing how it's affecting, your work relationships or your physical health. If you're noticing that people around you are responding differently, that's something else that can indicate to you that things have gotten to a point where you're not quite the best version of yourself.
Right. Okay. Can you explain what kind of services you can offer to people dealing with these types of concerns?
Well, one of the wonderful things about therapy is that there's no one-size-fits-all type of process. So if you come in, you can come in just simply saying, I'm not feeling great these days, help me figure out what it is. And we can talk through that, and we can help identify what it is that's really troubling you. A lot of times that'll match up with one of the DBT skill sets, which specifically are mindfulness, the interpersonal effectiveness, which we touched on briefly before, distress tolerance, as well as emotion regulation.
Wow. That's
So
great.
if you're someone that's just having difficulty kind of keeping your moods regulated and you're not sure why, emotion regulation might just be a skill set that we spend, a few sessions addressing, and then you leave with that set of skills to work with those situations.
One of the things that I really like is you're not going to, we can give you a pill to fix it. It's really just trying to, work it through, your person and how you work. You mentioned that you complete psychological assessments. Can you explain what those are? And we're kind of wrapping up, so I want to hit that. I want to hit the physical assessments, those two things.
Well, when it comes to psychological assessments, a lot of people are confused. It sounds intimidating to them. We think that we're going to try to shrink their brain or something. But really, psychological
I would love that,
assessments.
Would I lose weight if you shrunk
Yeah,
my
we haven't figured out that yet.
Darn it.
But one of the wonderful things about psychological assessments is they work kind of like medical tests. It's a great way to think about it. If something's not feeling right, you might go in and get an X-ray, a blood test.
Sure.
Psychological assessments are the same. We're not going to try to slap a diagnosis on you right away. It's not a process of trying to fit you into a cookie cutter.
Right.
Every assessment's going to look different, and you can't fail.
Got it.
It's going to be of benefit to you, and it's going to be a benefit to the people in your life that are trying to help you feel better, just to get a better idea of what's going on.
That's amazing. So you share an office with another therapist. You mentioned that. How do your services complement one another?
So Jess actually, she has been in private practice for years already.
Okay.
And whereas I have been doing clinical work for years, this is my first venture into private practice.
Got it.
So she's been wonderful about helping understand how the system works, and we have a great relationship, whereas she does work primarily with children and adolescents, and I work primarily with adults in regards to therapy. That's really been beneficial, because if she's seeing a child and the parent needs help, I can help with that. She also refers people to me for psychological assessments.
Wonderful.
So it's someone that just has been a person to lean on and relate with.
And
And
really
she's
complementing one
and
another.
she's a terrific therapist.
That's great. So what would you like to leave the community of Farmington and Farmington Hills today?
Really just letting you know that if you are listening right now and anything strikes the nerve with you, if you're thinking that maybe there's some kind of patterns you're falling into in your own life that are troubling you, or just something you want to talk more about, they're welcome to call. at any time. Phone consultations are completely free. We can talk for as long as you feel necessary. And
Excellent.
at this time, we are trying to really just set up
That's great.
appointments when it's convenient for you. Monday
Wonderful.
through Saturday, we can work with
That's amazing.
with work schedules, school schedules. Just
Thank
please,
you.
please call, please
Wow.
reach out.
Well, and I agree with you. I mean, I think if you can't handle it on your own, there is help out there. So
Yes.
thank you so much, Dr.
So
Beth,
thank you for
joining
having
me
me.
today.
Yes.
And that wraps up another episode of Business Builders Corner. We'll see you next time.